There's TV. We have all the back of the heads
Look
like
like
that
the,
right
yeah.
here. The audience.
I tell you, when you go there, you want to appreciate the beating they put on us there. When you go there, look at the long range. We used to shoot on the berms all the way down to the carcass.
Let me buy back.
Farthest end targets. And run it back.
Let me
Full
buy.
boots and all 9 yards, 4 years. Run back, shoot, full spread again. Do this again, do 5 times of that.
Oh, stupid
Then
thing.
go on a 5-mile run. That was nasty. Nasty. I threw up all over that place.
Hey, I'm recording here.
Are you? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It was nasty.
You sat in the wrong seat now. I can't get you in my film. You're right there.
See, I had it so bad.
I'm losing my audience already.
I'm walking out. Down in front. Is that better?
Scoot to the right a little bit. There you go. Just so your shoulders there. Okay.
Want me to get,
No. You're good. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, a woman sits to pose for a portrait. She stares directly at the painter with a slight smile on her face. What could she be thinking about? Is she thinking about her husband? Her new baby? Does she have a secret? Maybe the painter is staring into a mirror. He's making a self-portrait. Maybe he's just creating a woman out of his memory. These questions and scores of others have been raised in the 500 years since the Mona Lisa has been painted. She's been surrounded in controversy in all these questions since 1503, when Da Vinci was commissioned by Francesco del Giocondo, who was a silk merchant. The story goes that he wanted to have a portrait done of his wife, Mona Lisa. This painting is a masterpiece by all accounts. Da Vinci invented the idea of using a third dimension. If you look into the background, it looks like you can actually step into the painting. Paintings back then were generally done very flat. They focused on the sitter and the background was really unimportant. Another thing Da Vinci invented was something called sfumato, and it's a technique of using light and shadow to create an illusion. He does this around the mouth and around the eyes. Another thing Da Vinci did that no other portraitist did at the time was he has his sitter looking directly at the viewer. Mona Lisa looks like she's looking at you. Generally, paintings done back then were from the profile. All of these inventions have created a lot of intrigue around Mona Lisa, and they raise all of our questions. What is she looking at? Well, the sfumato technique, she's not looking at you, but the way he used his shadow, it makes her eyes seem like they're following you. If you move around, the light catches the paint just right, so it looks like she's looking at you, which creates the mystery. What is she looking at? Is she looking at Da Vinci? Maybe. But maybe there's no woman. Is Da Vinci painting himself? Well, if he's looking in a mirror, he would paint the eyes to look directly back at himself. Now, the Mona Lisa has an interesting history. She's not always been in a museum. Da Vinci kept her with him his entire life, since the time he commissioned it. He never turned it over to Giocondo, which, if this is a painting of the man's wife, wouldn't he expect to get the painting? But if it's a self-portrait, Da Vinci kept it with himself. So it raises the question, who is the sitter? Another idea is that Da Vinci painted it of his mother, and it's just out of memory. It's just for memory. So again, he would keep it with himself his whole life. A record of this painting is listed in the will of a boy named Salai, who was Da Vinci's assistant in his studio. So she went from Da Vinci to his assistant, and at some point she was sold to the King of France and ended up in the Royal Galleries in France. And eventually she ended up in the Louvre. Once she made it to the Louvre, she was actually stolen in 1911. She was missing for over a year, And at some point, a real estate agent contacted the authorities saying, I have the Mona Lisa and I want a ransom for her. Well, he wasn't very good at it, so they caught him and they found the painting and got it back into the Louvre, into safekeeping. Now, some of her mysteries, what is she smiling at? Is she smiling because she just had a brand new baby? Is she smiling because she's Da Vinci's secret lover? Is she smiling because it's actually Da Vinci and he's fooling the entire world? He painted a portrait of himself and passed it off as a woman. There is no record of any of these questions. There's no record in the journals that he kept of who the sitter is. They've done x-rays and bone reconstruction, and it does match up very similar to Da Vinci's own facial structure. Excuse me. But they have pretty much ruled out that this could actually be Da Vinci. They believe that it is just a woman who sat for a pose. Because the Mona Lisa has become so famous, anything that's so famous is worthy of imitation, and it's also worthy of being parodied. Mona Lisa is a favorite subject for people to make fun of. Now, an artist named Marcel Duchamp was sick of the entire art world wanting everybody to paint the classics. So he took the Mona Lisa and made his own version. Now, the title of it, L-H-O-O-Q, in French, would be Elle a chaud au cou. Now, if you say it just right, the translation in French turns out to, she has a great arse. So maybe that's what she's smiling about. And it's supposed to be a big play on the classic. Is it really classic? Big deal. See, I can do this too. The Mona Lisa has been used in marketing all over the world, especially in America, because we do love to make fun of things that are famous. So she's used here to sell braces. Oh. So maybe she's smiling. She's not smiling with her teeth showing because she has bad teeth.
Oh.
Maybe she just has a stuffy nose. It's a breathe
Oh.
right strip. Maybe she can't see what she's looking at. She needs bifocals.
Oh, jeez.
And of course, then we just use her to sell things. We use Come to the Alps. The Mona Lisa loves it here. Used in cartoons with Bugs Bunny. And just hundreds and hundreds of others that people just use something famous to sell their product. So we've explored some of the questions about Mona Lisa. Maybe we've come up with some answers. We've probably dispelled some of the mysteries. It's not Da Vinci. She doesn't have bad teeth. It was just a technique that Da Vinci used to make her look like she's smiling. So maybe you'll go to see the Mona Lisa someday, and maybe you'll come up with questions of your own. But hopefully I've answered some and piqued your interest about such an amazing painting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bravo, bravo.